AM1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
This program is paid for by the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its partners.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show, home of Arizona's youth, high school, college sports, and you, empowering education and enabling dreams, right here on KDUS AM 1060 in Arizona. And now, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
Good morning. What we have in mind is breakfast in bed for 400,000.
Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show on KDUS AM 1060 Radio, live from the studio this morning in Phoenix, Arizona. A bright, sunny Saturday morning. I'm Douglas Santo, and I'll be hosting this morning alongside my colleagues Roberto Astorga and Tommy Perez. We're all from ASU Cronkite in the journalism school, sports journalism. Why did you guys decide to join the Varsity Sports Show this semester?
So I decided to join Varsity Sports Show for the experience because I heard so many great things about it. Especially because it offers a lot of opportunities for fellow interns and things like that.
Yeah, I wanted to join also just to get better at being a journalist. I really liked videography, and I've been able to work as a cameraman, and that's really been fun for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And me as well. I love sports. This has been a really great internship and now freelance opportunity for me to just get better at my craft and learning new things along the way. What are you guys big sports fans, just the journalism side? What are your main interests?
I'm a big sports fan, of course. I grew up playing sports, so I have a really big view of it. Especially living in Arizona, we have a really high sports community over here. So.
Yeah, I'm also a big sports fan, diehard Cardinals fan, Suns fans, Diamondbacks fans, the Coyotes when they were here. I really love everything about sports, and they brought a lot of joy and a lot of tears to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what Diamondbacks going to the World Series last year, that was pretty cool. What was that experience like, Robert?
Yeah, it was totally fun because I think we exceeded expectations. I thought this year we might go back, but I don't know. It's looking a little tight right now.
Yeah, are you nervous coming near to the end of the season here?
I am
Still fighting for wild card?
I'm very nervous. The Braves look like they might be in, and we might just slip out, but that's sports.
Yeah, it certainly is sports. And Tommy, what sports did you growing up? What was kind of your sport that you really liked?
So I played soccer while I was growing up, so it was pretty fun, especially because I also did club soccer as well. So I was able to gain experience from different coaches and travel across Arizona. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what has your guys' favorite part been of working and interning with the Varsity Sports Show so far?
My favorite part of working with Varsity Sports Show is probably the camera work. I love doing camera work. So, going to games, running across the field with the camera and making sure I get good shots was pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And Roberto?
Yeah, I've also liked being on the camera. I did color for one game, and that was pretty fun, too. Interviewing the coaches, a lot of these coaches are real nice, and they like talking about their players. So that's definitely a good experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are all the different things you guys have been able to experience so far?
I got to experience doing color, and I never thought I would actually like it, but I really did. And especially because I did for GCU soccer for women's versus ASU, and it was pretty fun, especially for my first time. So I think that was one of my biggest experiences I got to do.
Yeah, that's cool. And I would imagine growing up playing soccer, it's a sport something you feel comfortable doing. I know last Sunday I was calling the GCU men's soccer game, the club team, and same thing. I grew up playing soccer, and I had never called soccer before, but knowing that I had played it before and kind of knew what was going on, it eased the nerves a lot, made me feel comfortable doing it. What about you, Roberto?
Yeah, so I did play-by-play my first week, and it was tough. And then I did color the next week, and it was much easier. I really like doing color. And then I've been on camera, I think, for 3 games, so it's been really fun. Camera is kind of where I feel the most comfortable.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you I know I did camera when I was in high school, and I always loved like getting the cool shots of the receivers making catches down the field or stuff. Like, what's your guys' favorite part of being behind the camera?
Yeah, it feels good when you get like a highlight play. Last game, I got a pretty good catch and throw by Mountain View, and it's pretty like rewarding to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think mine is when because I do Brophy, so I was able to catch a really good touchdown, and I love seeing the players, especially when it's like a really big game. They like come rushing down, they like celebrate, and it's like I get to see their like expressions on the field, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Those emotions and the atmosphere, it's really fun to see. Did you get to see any like celebration dances or anything after that touchdown?
I did, yeah. Especially because they all have like there's like special handshakes and stuff. So whenever they get a touchdown, like one person's doing handshakes in the corner, another person's dancing. Like it's pretty cool, especially because like you don't know where you are, and so like you don't know if you're gonna get trampled by like everyone celebrating or like anything like that, which just brings so much excitement to me because I'm like I don't know what to do.
Right. Yeah, that's fun, and it's a learning experiment too because you don't want to get caught in the middle of all that. And going off of that, obviously, interning with the Varsity Sports Show now. But you guys are both from ASU Cronkite. What made you guys decide to come out to ASU?
Yeah, so I have lived my entire life in Phoenix, Arizona. My two older siblings, they're Wildcats. They went to U of A, so they did not want me to go to ASU. But I wanted to stay home with my parents, and then I love sports, so the journalism is one of the best schools in the nation, Walter Cronkite. So yeah, that kind of it made sense for me to stay at here and go to Cronkite.
Yeah, absolutely.
I heard a lot of great experience around the Walter Cronkite, and especially because I used to do journalism in high school, I gained more experience of sports journalism because I love sports, and I just wanted to gain the experience. I learned that there's a lot of opportunities there, and I love to stay home. I'm family oriented, so I thought just stay home in Arizona with my family, right? Like I'm still near, so.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's got to make the transition to college feel a little more peaceful and at ease, knowing that you've got your family right at home as well. And what I know, as you guys have said, Cronkite is nationally recognized as one of the best journalism schools. With the experiences they're able to give students and everything, what other than obviously you're interning with Varsity now, what have you been able to experience at Cronkite other than that?
Yeah, so I've been able to interview. I interviewed somebody from the Council of Phoenix, so that was pretty cool seeing him. And then I've covered some athletes that they're in college now, D1 athletes. So it's pretty cool to recognize like the people here locally, because I know like I live in Glendale, so these smaller cities they don't get as much coverage. So it's definitely cool to cover those smaller schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a sophomore, I haven't been able to gain that much experience yet. Although I am covering Brophy still for my multimedia class, and I love it so much because I'm able to interview coaches and players and going to games and getting some camera shots and getting so much information that I didn't know about. So.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. And you said that you were you said that Brophy was the school you've kind of been at for your varsity stuff as well. So kind of double dipping, really getting to know that team and watch them progress throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And going off of that, what are your guys' like dreams, aspirations? What are your plans for after graduation? Like, what is your dream job? What do you guys want to do?
Yeah, so hopefully I get to stay in Arizona. That would be a dream, just staying here with my family. And I really enjoy being behind the camera. So hopefully something with like live production behind the camera, or a videographer where I get to make videos. And hopefully it's for the Cardinals or the Diamondbacks or the Suns. I know it might be like a stretch right out of college, but yeah, that would be my dream job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So going off that, my dream job is to do camera for the Phoenix Mercury. I love the Mercury team, and I know it's a big stretch since like they're pretty big in the WNBA right now. But that's my main goal, is to work for the Phoenix Mercury. It doesn't matter what position. I just want to be a part of that family.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's awesome to hear you guys with big goals that they might, straight out of college seem a little big. But it gives you something to work towards, and if a goal is smaller, then it's easier to accomplish, but you can accomplish stuff before that and then get to those big goals that you're looking for. Now we're coming up on our first segment. We're going to speak to one of our high school coaches out here. from a team that's doing pretty good this season. Robert, you want to take us into that?
Yeah, we're going to have an interview with Mountain View Toros head coach Andy Litten. I've covered them a couple games, and they had a good season this year. Corey, take it away.
Hello and welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. I'm here with Mountain View Toros head coach Andy Litten. Coach, an easy game is what your team made it look like here on the road against Desert Ridge. What went well for you guys?
You know, that's going to be a good football team. They just went through a gauntlet of really good football teams, and you know, I like to think that we are too. And you know, we came out with the right mindset. You know, we came after them right from the get-go. I'm very proud of our offensive line. That's a great defensive line, and they came out and really solidified themselves early, and we made plays when we needed to.
And starting running back Beckham Barney obviously out. How did Reese Bodily change this game for you guys?
So he'll get really angry that you call him a tailback because he thinks he's a linebacker, and he's a running back for me just because he likes me. But you know, he's our energy, and so losing him is always tough. But the reason he was going is because Reese got hurt in the first quarter of the first game after he scored a touchdown. So we're excited to have Reese back. That's the Reese Bodily we knew we always had, and you know, he's not feeling 100%, but he's running as just like he is. So.
And this is your fifth game, obviously. Yeah. You guys have accumulated north of 220 points through 5 games. You know, that's averaging over 50 points a game. What's the secret to your guys' success?
You know, it's not about an individual player, and that's one of the things that we kind of had to say. It's not hero ball or buddy ball. We get the ball where it needs to go, and our kids have really, really done that. They've always had a really good passing attack. Coach Jermaine last year, you know, had them ready, and so the fact that we've added our running game in this year and they've embraced change has really helped us. And they're just a great group. You know, they want to score. They enjoy being, you know, doing that together as a team, and so I think that really helps fuel us.
And that's evident in the wealth being shared with Brady Goodman, Mikey Sumko, now Reese Bodily, and thank you so much for your time and congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. That was an interview with Mountain View Toros head football coach Andy Litten. Just getting to hear about the team chemistry, the teamwork that goes into that team, and what's made them so successful this season. And Roberto, I know you have gotten to cover them and be at their games a lot this season. What have you seen from that team?
Yeah, they're right now they're standing at 4-1. They've been really tough, and they really like running the ball. But their quarterback Brady Goodman, he had 4 touchdowns, I believe, last game. So even though they're trying to run the ball, they're still successful throwing it.
Yeah, and going off of that, we're going to come up on our first break here. Robert, you want to take us into that?
Yeah, after the break, we're going to be joined by Brophy Prep head coach Jewell. This is Roberto Storga for the Varsity Sports Show on 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
HD Radio is here for KDUS AM 1060. Check out your favorite shows and games on 100.7 KSLX HD2.
APAC is your one-stop source for all your automotive and heavy-duty air conditioning parts, supplies, and equipment. They're family-owned and have been the Valley's go-to for all your auto AC needs since 1982. Whether it's for your everyday or vintage car, commercial, or off-road vehicle or equipment, APAC has you covered. Call APAC, AAPAK, the AC experts at 602-254-1116 and ask for the Varsity Special to get 10% off your purchase. Hey guys, Vince here to talk about Angel Dentistry. It's where my wife and I have gone for over 10 years, and we trust them with our routine and extensive dental care because they care. Dr. Amber Angel is an Arizona native, born in the town of Miami, and has been practicing in the Valley over 20 years. For general to comprehensive dental services, call 602-788-2008. Located off of Cave Creek Road just north of the 101 in North Phoenix. Angel Dentistry, proud supporters of our young people and proud partners of the Varsity Sports Show.
Hi everybody, my name is PaisleyPromo and I am a senior at Arizona State's Cronkite School. I am so excited to be a part of the Varsity Sports intern team as a sideline reporter and possible color analyst. Friday Night Lights, let's get it.
The Thursday night high school flag football game of the week is back. 8 weeks of coverage beginning Thursday, September 19th. Every game begins at 6 p.m. Join the varsity team as we travel the valley featuring your favorite teams, including Saturday morning radio segments. The Thursday night flag football game of the week is back on the Varsity Sports Show.
You are listening to
the Varsity Sports Show.
The Varsity Sports Show. Thursday night
flag football game of the week.
Flag football game of the week.
Ready to bring KDUS AM 1060 into your home with Alexa?
Hi, I'm Alexa.
Download the KDUS AM 1060 skill and enable. Then say, Alexa, open KDUS AM 1060.
This is where I start my day.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on 1060 KDUS Arizona. I am Roberto from ASU. I'd like to introduce our first live guest. His team beat Northern Dame Prep yesterday 40-0. They're the 4th ranked team in Arizona. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the show, Brophy head coach Jason Jewell.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Coach?
Real good. Thank you.
Coach, your team had 4 rushing touchdowns yesterday in the first half. You obviously have talented running backs and a great O-line. How much preparation goes into making sure your guys are successful running the ball?
Oh, a ton of preparation. So, I'm an offensive line guy, not just the head coach. So I assist in that every day with our offensive line coach, Mark Martinez. And I think that the offensive line is the lifeline of our entire football team, not just the offense.
Yeah, and he kind of lets the O-line really carries the load on the offense. Devin Fitzgerald, he had a receiving touchdown yesterday, and he's up to 4 on the year. What can you tell me about the year he's having and the work he's putting in?
Devin has done a tremendous job over the last year of developing himself into the player that he's turned into today. He was a fringe player last year for us and didn't play a lot until the end of the year and playoff stretch. And really started to come along and showed what he could do. And now it's just been that off season of work is now showing out on the field, and he's doing a nice job and having a good junior year.
Yeah. And then, you said he was a junior. Looking at your roster, Coach, you have a lot of juniors and sophomores and some seniors. How does this help your team this year?
Well, a lot of those young guys are getting valuable experience. The biggest loss next year is going to be along the offensive line. All 5 of those guys are seniors. But we, not looking forward to next year because we still have a lot of football to play this year, but we do have a talented group of returners as well.
Yeah, and then as far as like the future with these younger players, how does that kind of help you like planning ahead who's going to play in the next years?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these guys, we have a handful of sophomores that are starting right now for us. Ryder Noche, Donovan Nab are playing, quite a bit for us. So getting valuable experience the next year when those guys, graduate, they can step right in and contribute. We don't skip a beat.
Yeah, and then kind of because this is really a program that where you develop players. How does that affect like who you decide to play now versus later on in their high school careers?
Yeah, my philosophy is you only get better at football by playing. So we'll bring up freshmen, we'll bring up sophomores from the JV, only if they're going to start or play significant minutes. They have to play. So if not, we're going to play them down on the freshman or the JV team so they can get those valuable reps.
Yeah, and then specifically on yesterday's game, what takeaways do you have from that game? I know you guys dominated in the first half and then scored again in the second half to win 40-0.
Yeah, I mean, just takeaways. I think we finally played 4 quarters of football, came out and played strong, started off the game well, which we had not played a great first half in any of our games really. Maybe Williamsfield. The other ones we got off to a slow start, and I thought we started fast and led to a nice win over our rival.
All right, and then looking ahead to your future games, you have Basha next week. How do you? And they're a tough school to always play in football. How do you kind of prepare for these games?
Well, we're just now preparing for it. We just got out of a team meeting with our boys, and we told them this is as big as it gets. This is the biggest stage in the regular season. So they're the number 1 team in the state right now, and if we want to be at that level, be an open state title contender, we need to be able to hang and beat teams like Basha.
Yeah, and then you talked about the championships, right? Is that the ultimate goal this year, or what are your goals this year?
Yeah, our team goal is to get into the Open. We've never been there. It's somewhere we've never been. So if we can get into we've been close in several years, but we've never made it. So our initial goal is to get into the Open. Once we're in there, to see what we can do, what damage we can do in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then how do you because Basha, you'll probably see them in the Open playoffs. How do you prepare knowing that you're going to play them this week and then you might play them later on in the season?
Yeah, I don't want to skip too far ahead. There's still a whole lot of football, to be played even after Basha. We got 4 more games in our region too. That when we would play some tough teams in there. I know Corona beat Saguaro last night. And Desert Vista's team we really respect. We have Mountain Point and South Point that are 2 very, very tough teams. I don't want to look ahead that far. We just got to get to Basha, and then we have a bye week, and we can regroup and get healthy and be ready to roll. But we just want to take it 1 week at a time.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Coach. Thank you for joining us, and good luck for the rest of your season.
Thank you.
All right, that was Brophy head coach Jason Jewell. Up next, we have segments from our colleagues about Marvin Harrison Jr., Medina Taurasi, and a recap of ASU versus Texas Tech last week.
I'm Dawit Gebremariam from Arizona State University for the Varsity Sports Show. After a breakout game in Week 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. looked for a repeat performance in his Week 3 matchup against the Detroit Lions. This was by no means an easy task, as the Lions defense came into the game only giving up 20 points and 225 passing yards per game. Yet, even with a tough matchup, Harrison Jr. was still able to give his team some much-needed production. The star wide receiver had 5 catches on 11 targets for 64 yards and 1 touchdown. That touchdown came on the Cardinals' first drive of the game, as he caught a 10-yard pass from Kyler Murray in the back of the end zone to tie the game up 7-7. Yet his performance was not enough to lead the Cardinals to a victory, as they were only able to score 6 more points the rest of the game and ultimately lost to Detroit 20-13. Detroit held the Cardinals' passing game in check, as quarterback Kyler Murray only had 217 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Harrison Jr. and the Cardinals' offense now shift their attention to a Week 4 matchup at home against the Washington Commanders, who are coming off a huge primetime victory and sit atop of the NFC East division. Harrison Jr. could have a huge game, as the Washington defense comes in giving up 255 passing yards and 29.3 points per game to their opponent. With dynamic players on both offenses, we could very well see an old-fashioned shootout in the desert. For the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Dawit Gebremariam.
Good morning and welcome to the Varsity Sports Show on KDUS AM 1060. My name is Alexandra Medina and I am a sports journalism student from ASU Cronkite. After shooting hoops in the desert for 20 seasons, Medina Taurasi announced that she could possibly be hanging up her jersey one last time. A sellout crowd gathered inside a Footprint Center on Thursday night to see the WNBA's all-time leading scorer take the court for one final time. Throughout the entire game, Taurasi played for 18 minutes, recorded 9 points, and all of those 9 points scored on three-pointers. The final points recorded by Taurasi came in the second quarter, but the crowd wanted more. Late in the fourth quarter, the crowd began chanting DT with just 3 minutes and 11 seconds left on the clock. It did not take long before Nate Tibbetts put Taurasi back onto the floor, but 6 seconds after she checked in, she was subbed out. While Taurasi was walking back to the bench, she stopped to hug her parents who were sitting courtside, Tibbetts and each player on the team before she took a seat. The final score, 89-70, and a win was recorded by the Seattle Storm. But the loss was not the only emotional scene of the night for Mercury fans. After the game, Taurasi made her way to the center of the court to address the crowd. While the announcement was not made until the Mercury had been eliminated from playoff contention by the Minnesota Lynx, the crowd knew that this could be it. And just as the tears began to fall, the crowd was left with one heartfelt message before the 3-time WNBA champion and 6-time Olympic gold medalist walked through the tunnel for possibly the final time.
When I got here in 2004, I kind of knew I was going to be here for a long time. I had a feeling that this was home in a strange and mysterious way. If it is the last time, it felt like the first time. I love you guys.
For Varsity Sports, I am Alexandra Medina.
This is Kavish Siddhartha from the Cronkite School of Journalism at ASU with Varsity Sports. ASU's incredible undefeated run finally came to a stop last Saturday on the 21st of September when they lost to Texas Tech. It was a back-and-forth game, but the Red Raiders were able to hold off the Sun Devils and outlast them to the final whistle in the fourth quarter. This marked ASU's first game against Big 12 competition, and while they didn't get the outcome they desired on the road, there are still key takeaways to come away with. Let's recap the competitive Big 12 matchup from last week. Texas Tech won the home game 30-22 behind a strong performance from their offense. Quarterback Baron Morin had a solid game, putting up figures of 201 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and going 24 of 44 completions. Those aren't eye-popping stats, but the QB didn't turn the ball over and did what needed to be done to get the dub for the Red Raiders. While they found success throwing the ball, running back Taj Brooks controlled the ground game, rushing the ball for 27 times for 117 yards. Consistent production on the offensive side of the field is what won the game for Texas Tech. Moving on to the Sun Devils, quarterback Sam Leavitt had a decent game throwing the ball for nearly 300 passing yards with no touchdowns and 1 pick. Not the game Leavitt had hoped for, but still plenty to learn for the young quarterback. Running back Cam Scatabo carried a lot of the offense for the Sun Devils, with 2 touchdowns on the ground and 117 receiving yards on 6 catches. Arizona State will have time to watch tape and correct their mistakes, as they have a bye this upcoming week. Their next game will be against Kansas on Saturday, October 5th, and will be an exciting game at Mountain America Stadium. The Sun Devils are still in a great position at 3-1. Let's see if they can bounce back after the bye. That concludes my Arizona report with Varsity Sports. This is Kavish Siddhartha reporting.
Need social information about KDUS AM1060? Try KDUS1060.com, at KDUS AM1060 on Twitter, and Facebook.com/KDUS AM1060.
The AngryCrabShack in Tempe. With an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. AngryCrabShack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The AngryCrabShack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
Hello, this is local voiceover model and former Daddy Yankee stunt double, Mario Malaby. Be sure to DM us your questions for Ask Lucas on Twitter. And you are listening to the Varsity Sports Show on AM1060 KDUS, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Sumner, and I'm very excited to work with Varsity Sports Show. I've been doing this since freshman year, and I just love filming, and I'm so excited to film on the field, so catch me on the field. Thank you so much. Bye.
The Varsity Sports Show is once again proud to partner with Grand Canyon University Club Sports in 2024 and 25. Join us in our coverage of GCU Club Sports on Saturday's Varsity Sports Show and the rest of the week. We'll cover hockey, soccer, baseball, rugby, lacrosse, and more. The Lopes are back on the Varsity Sports Show.
Your caddy, Ray Adams, takes you beyond the 18th hole on Saturday mornings with Great American Golf from 6 to 7 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on 1060 KDUS, Arizona. I am Roberto Astorga from Arizona State University. Our second live guest on the show that I would like to introduce to you is the head coach of the reigning 6A champions. Welcome to the show, Saguaro head coach Darius Kelly. Coach, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so yesterday you guys had a close game. Your team was always in it, but ultimately fell short. What can you take away from a close loss like yesterday?
There's a lot of tough lessons we had to take last night, and I think the main good takeaway is to stay positive this morning. And our kids fought hard. I think we fought through some tough times. We were able to come back to play through some adversity. We just came up one play short. It was a tough one.
Yeah, and how do you kind of transition from that close, tough loss to the next week's game?
I just got to keep fighting the little things, right? And figure out, where the mistakes were made and where we can get better. But, for these kids, man, these are 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. When you have a tough loss like that, it really comes down to the mental aspect. So, for us, it's just making sure that our mental is back to where it needs to be so we can go ahead and go out and fight again next week, because we do have a tough opponent again. So we got to keep fighting.
Yeah, you've had a tough schedule, but besides like wins or losses, what do you teach your players to always keep their head up?
Yeah, this game of football it correlates with life very, very, very well. You're going to have highs and lows. You're going to have good times. You're going to have bad times. And some people, those lessons are learned, in the first quarter, and some lessons get learned in the fourth quarter, and some lessons get learned in Game 5. So, it's just being able to ride the waves, stay steady, stay the course, because the feelings of losing don't last forever, and you know what? The feeling of winning doesn't last forever either. So you just got to stay the course and keep fighting.
Yeah, and then one of your standout players, your quarterback Zealand Danielson, he averages 214 passing yards a game. How do you kind of prepare your team knowing that you're gonna see a lot of passes thrown?
Yeah, we just gotta make sure we're running the right routes, got the right play calls in, and making sure we're putting our guys in the best positions to make those plays. We had two quarterbacks play last night. I had our first quarterback have a chance to get back on the field. This week of practice will be huge for us, so we can start getting some timing down, start getting the right plays in, and doing the things that we need to do to make sure that we win a football game. And it comes down to practice. And again, with this week, with this tough loss, man, it's really going to come down to the mental aspect. If we can push through that and get healthy and play through the things we need to play through, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, and then being a quarterback is a tough job. Danielson, he's a freshman. So what can you tell me about how motivated he is and how hard he works?
Yeah, Zealand, man. He's a warrior. He has a warrior mentality. He comes to work every single day. And for him, he is a freshman. You may look at him and you're like, man, the kid looks like a grown man, but he is a freshman, and I saw some tears fall down his eyes last night, and I know, because I know he cares. It means so much to him. And I know he works his tail off, and I'm happy he's on our side, on our team, and I really do appreciate all the hard work he does just at a young age, and for the older guys to see that, and even the younger guys to see that, and us even as coaching staff, we can look at that and say, you know what, life goes on. If this young guy can do it, we can get through these things. So let's keep pushing. So I'm just happy he's on our side for sure.
Yeah, and then Danielson, he's obviously a young player. You have a lot of juniors, sophomores, and some freshmen on this team. How does this kind of help your program in the near future, in the next couple of seasons, just developing them?
Yeah, that's the tough part, right? You look at that part, and you're like, man, if we can, this is something we can build on, and it is hard for a lot of guys, because a lot of us want to live in the now. And it's tough to look at that, look in the now. And, when we're judged on winning losses on doing the now. But when you do look at that aspect and, the trajectory of this team, where we can go, the potential that we have to win games in the future, it's really, really high. But We're judged on what we can do now, so then we just got to do what we could do better and keep developing these guys as we go and stay the course. And, I have a plan. I have a vision for this program, and it has a lot to do with a lot of those players that you just mentioned, those young guys that want to get through this. And the vision is there. We just got to keep working the plan and working the goal and making sure these seniors have the best opportunity they can to win games as they finish up their careers here at Saguaro, because they've had a great 4 years, and we want to make sure this year is where it needs to be. So that's my goal, while developing everybody else around them. But I want to make sure these seniors go out on top and do everything they got to do.
Yeah, so you've been with Saguaro a couple years now, and this is your first as head coach. How does that kind of change? Does it completely change your point of view?
I'd say so, because I was able to develop a lot of these relationships with these guys last year. So, for usually, right, you come into a new place, it's like, okay, let's look, at, what the future may hold, and these guys, like I mentioned, these seniors, they hold a major place in my heart. And I just want to keep making sure I make it the best opportunity for them. And I haven't been able to see all the things that we could improve on from last year and what we need to do to grow. It does give you a different outlook on this game. So the answer to your question is yes, it does give me a different outlook being here from one year to the next.
Yeah, and then you've had a tough schedule to begin the year. You played Mountain View, you played Basha, and you've been able to score points, but it's just a tough schools to play. Next week you have Centennial, which is another tough game. How do you prepare for these tougher games?
Yeah, just constantly improve. I don't like to make excuses on how tough the schedule is, but we do absolutely have the toughest schedule in all the state of Arizona when it comes to power points. And for us, having a young team and a short roster, it comes down to a lot of the mental game. It really does. The mental game is the biggest part in getting these guys from 1 week to the next, and understanding, when you do lose, right, it's tough to look at improvements and just making sure these guys can see how and when they improve just because of a loss sometimes. And to me, that's the toughest part. But I can truly say these guys have improved tremendously from week 1 to week 5. And we get a couple of guys back this week that will definitely help us push the needle forward a little bit. But, we just got to continue to harp on the little things and keep fighting hard and playing through it, tough schedule or not. We got to go out there and fight, and you got to keep your head in it, and we got to keep going. And I believe in every single one of these guys. I believe in every single one of these coaches, these kids, and this program. And I know we're going through some tough times, but we're going to get through it. And that's all I believe in, and that's what I think. So we'll continue to do those things and do what we got to do to get to where we got to get to.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks for joining us, and best of luck on the rest of your season.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. That was Saguaro head coach Darius Kelly. Up next, we have more segments from our colleagues. Jhamyr Johnson, Ian Monje, Julia Coyne, and Cooper Holman are next.
Hi, this is Jhamyr Johnson reporting from Indianapolis, Indiana with the Varsity Sports Show. I am an ASU online student in my senior year, and today we are going to get into the news with the Arizona State University's women's soccer team. This Sunday at 6 p.m., the Sun Devils on their home turf will be matching up with the Cincinnati Bearcats. The Sun Devils this season are off to a great start with a record of 6 wins, 3 ties, and 1 loss. Arizona State University's women's soccer team played the University of Central Florida their last game, which ended in a tie, 1-1, with a goal scored by Anasia Cologne. Anasia has a total of 13 points this season, next to her teammate Kiera Blundell with 17 points. The game before their last game against the University of Central Florida, Kiera scored 2 points in a Sun Devils win against the University of Houston in Houston, finishing with a score of 2-0. Also, the Sun Devils are shooting and scoring well with a shots on goal percentage of .48% and scoring 2.2 goals per game. This weekend will be exciting, and this game will be airing on ESPN+, so be sure to keep your TVs on. This has been Jhamyr Johnson with the Varsity Sports Show at Arizona State University.
Hey y'all, my name is Monje from Arizona State University, here for the Varsity Sports Show on am1060 KDUS Arizona. I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far and that you guys are having an amazing Saturday morning as well. I wanted to switch it up just a little bit. I know that you guys have gotten some professional sports segments and some college sports segments, but I wanted to switch it over to some high school football in the Phoenix metro area. Particularly, I wanted to talk about the McClintock Chargers from Tempe, Arizona. Through their first 4 games, they have won all 4 of those games and are the 68th ranked team in the state. And to put it bluntly, they have had an electric passing unit so far. They have completed 76 passes, they've averaged 379 passing yards per game, 22 passing touchdowns to just 2 interceptions through those first 4 games. To put it bluntly, that is efficient and electric play through the air. And within their passing game, I wanted to highlight one of their best players within that game, and that's Kemon Jackson, the senior wide receiver. He, through 4 games, leads the state in total touchdowns, with 15 of them. 11 of them being receiving touchdowns, 3 of them being rushing touchdowns, and another one coming off of a kick return. He has been one of the steady forces of their offense. He has caught 23 passes for 574 yards and averaging close to 144 receiving yards per game. Through their first 4 games, they have been absolutely rolling, and the expectation is that Jackson is able to keep up this level of play and that McClintock will continue to have one of the best passing attacks in the state. Again, my name is Monje from Arizona State University, and enjoy the rest of the show.
I'm Coyne at Arizona State University with the Varsity Sports Show. Xavier Prep's girls volleyball out of Phoenix is currently ranked the number 1 team in Arizona. They are currently 12-1 and first in the 6A Central Division. They are a little over halfway through their regular season, and their only loss was to Mira Costa, who is 15-5 this season. Last season, the Gators went 27-6 overall. They are led by head coach Lamar Renee Bryant. Freshman middle blocker and outside Amari Frazier is leading the team with a .350 hitting percentage. She has 45 kills so far on the season. She stands at 6'3" and plays for the Arizona Storm Elite Volleyball Club. Sophomore outside Tessa Larkin leading the team in kills percent at an average of 4.7. She has a total of 437 kills in her 2 seasons so far. She comes in at 6 foot and has received Player of the Match 6 times. She also plays for the Arizona Storm Elite Volleyball Club. Junior middle blocker Allison Dunyan leading the team with 28 total blocks on the season, with the national average being only 6 blocks. Dunyan has 59 kills with the national average being 27. She comes in at 6'2" and is committed to play at the University of San Diego. Xavier Prep has incredible talent and has done very well this season. It will be exciting to see how they continue through the rest of their season. Their biggest competition will be against Corona del Sol on October 17th. With the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Coyne.
Cooper, Holman, ASU Sun Devil, talking to you from Phoenix, Arizona. D-backs fans were looking for more clarity on the team's postseason chances heading into the weekday series against the Giants, but instead, the future is foggier than ever. The Snakes dropped 2 out of 3 against San Fran, but the momentum was lost before they came back to Arizona. On Sunday, the D-backs were leading 8-0 early in Milwaukee against the Brewers, but as the game progressed, the lead would dwindle and ultimately result in a 10-9 loss. The Snakes were on the verge of winning 5 straight and sweeping the Brewers, but instead, they came home with a momentum-stalling loss. And that lack of momentum showed on Monday and Tuesday as the Snakes were pressing with their postseason chances in the balance. The Giants jumped out to a 3-0 lead on Monday night, and the D-backs were playing catch-up ever since. The game would result in a 6-3 loss, and on Tuesday, the D-backs would get shut out, losing 11-0, and fans around the state were beginning to wonder if this would be the last week we would have with D-backs baseball. Hopefully Wednesday was the game that the Snakes needed to get back on track after securing the 8-2 victory. While this one helped ease the blood pressure of fans, more question marks arise as now the Mets and the Braves will play a doubleheader Monday night instead of concluding their series on Thursday. This series has major playoff implications as the D-backs are in a tight race with both squads. The weekend series against the Padres lines up to be the most important series of the season as both squads look to secure a playoff spot or potentially a division title. This has been Cooper Holman from Varsity Sports with your D-backs update.
Have you downloaded the KDUS AM1060 skill for Alexa yet?
Food. Alexa is frustrated. No matter how many times do you ask, the answer is mail, chicken.
Once you're ready, say Alexa, open KDUS AM1060 to listen to your favorite shows.
Hello, sports fans. This is Dick Stockton, and you are listening to Arizona's home of youth, high school, college, and you. The Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
The Varsity Sports Show is proud to once again be the official broadcast team of the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference. We are back for another year of HJCAC football. We'll bring you the JUCO Game of the Week, on-site live coverage, weekly JUCO report on Saturday morning's Varsity Sports Show, and coming this fall, the weekly Coaches Show with Coach Doug Madosky. Stay tuned for more. JUCO football is alive and well in Arizona. Brought to you by the Varsity Sports Show and the HJCAC.
Hello everybody, my name is Saleh Awad, and I am thrilled to be interning with the Varsity Sports Show this fall. I am from Chicago, Illinois, and sports have always been a huge part of my life. Being my last semester at Cronkite, I'm excited to learn as much as I can and be a part of this team here. I'm ready to put out content for Varsity Sports Show immediately and get started. Thank you guys.
Hello everyone, my name is Adrian Carmona, and I am very excited to be joining the Varsity Sports Show team as their Gainesville correspondent. I am a third-year sports media major at the University of Florida, and my dream is to become a sports broadcaster and radio host. I can't wait to provide you all with the best content and news surrounding Gainesville sports.
We'll do what's best for the team, and we'll do what's best for you.
The Rich Eisen Show coming to you weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on KDUS AM 1060 Arizona Radio. I am Roberto Astorga from Arizona State University. In Arizona, we have a lot of sports teams, a lot of sports news going around. We'll start with the Cardinals. The Cardinals are right now 1-2. They look like a great team. What can we say about the Cardinals?
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting start to the season for the Cardinals. You know, obviously in the draft, Marvin Harrison Jr., a lot of eyeballs going to be on the Cardinals because of that. A healthy Kyler Murray now. I feel like there's a lot of expectation for the team, second year in Jonathan Gannon's era. But what have you seen so far from the Cardinals that gives you optimism for this season, Roberto?
Yeah, I think they've shown a lot of toughness. There really is a culture change with Jonathan Gannon and the GM, Monty Austinfort. They brought in a lot of tough players, maybe not as well-known names as we used to have, but definitely tougher, more grittier players. And yeah, in the first 3 games, they showed that they were up at halftime to the Bills, and ultimately lost that game. They destroyed the Rams 41-10, and then last week they were in until the end, but ultimately fell short against the Lions.
Yeah, and then going on now to baseball, real quick here, with Diamondbacks right in the hunt to the playoffs right now. Just 2 games left in the season. Competing with the Braves and the Mets for that final couple wild card spots. Just do you think they're gonna make it?
The Braves actually face the Mets to end their season, so whoever wins that, the Diamondbacks might have a chance of making it. They were in a lead and they let it slip, but they still have the chance right now. Ketel Marte, before his injury, he was playing like an MVP candidate, and we'll see. I think they may just slip in because the Braves play the Mets, but yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting. First, the D-backs need to take care of their own business, winning the next 2 games at home, which will set, as you said, them up in real good position with the Braves and Mets playing that doubleheader to end the regular season on Monday. And real quick, going to the Mercury, just got bounced from the playoffs, but what did you see from their season?
I saw a lot of great effort on the season, especially with, how they took on the court, and they had a really tough season this year, and I can't wait to see what the next season's like.
And as we've got a pre-recorded segment coming on, we'll talk more about all the sports and all of that. Much more coming in the second hour. But now we'll go to our pre-recorded segment with a couple more of our colleagues, Reese English, Matthew Ross, and Riley Garcia, talking about a preview of Arizona versus Utah, ASU women's volleyball, and the great start they've had of their season, along with an NFC West Week 4 preview. Take it away, Corey.
I'm Reese English, a University of Alabama sophomore, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. Tonight, Arizona will face off against the number 10 ranked team in the nation, the University of Utah. For Arizona, it'll be their first divisional game of the year. Utah is currently 4-0, with the Wildcats being 2-1, and their first loss came earlier this month from the 23rd ranked Kansas State Wildcats. Arizona is looking to bounce back after a bye week last week. Utah has some stars on their team on defense and on the offensive side. On defense, Van Fillinger is their leader on the D-line with a total of 5.5 sacks and 20 total tackles. He leads the team in both stats. He is a 6'4", 265-pound senior. The DB room is led by Elijah Davis, who has 2 of the 5 interceptions on the team. He is a sophomore who is 6'1" and 182 pounds. The team was missing their star quarterback last week in a dogfight of a game against 14th-ranked Oklahoma State and still came out on top. After their bye week, the Wildcats are prepared to take on a top 10 team. If they come out on top, they will have a strong win and that'll bolster them into the top 25. With the addition of the 12-team playoff, anything is possible, so the Wildcats will look to play their hardest tonight. I'm Reese English, a University of Alabama sophomore, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show.
This is Matt Ross from Arizona State University, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. The past 2 years have been fantastic for the Arizona State women's volleyball team. The acquisition of ex-University of Southern California head coach J.J. Van Niel for the 2023-24 season was crucial, as he was able to turn the program around in record time. He created a new environment of camaraderie and team spirit that the Sun Devils have not had in years. This broadcast directly onto the court as the Sun Devils tied for 3rd in the Pac-12 last year. They also made a statement at the national tournament by knocking off the number 4 seed in the country, Georgia, to advance to the semifinals before falling to number 1 seeded Stanford. This was the best finish for the Sun Devils since 1992. Van Niel has no intention of slowing down in the Big 12, as all the Arizona State athletic programs were moved for the 2024-25 season. However, Van Niel and the Sun Devils do not want to be the best in the Big 12. They want to be the best in the nation. The Sun Devils currently stand at 14th in the nation with no signs of stopping or being content outside the top 10. With challenging games this past week against 2 ranked teams on the road, the Sun Devils will prove why they belong in the conversation for the best team in the nation. From Arizona State, I'm Matt Ross reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Riley Garcia with Arizona State University, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. Week 3 has officially come to a close, so let's focus on what's happening in the NFC West Division going into Week 4. We'll start with the Seattle Seahawks, who lead the division. The Seahawks remain undefeated, led by a dominant first quarter performance against the Miami Dolphins. They picked up 17 points in that first quarter, and they went on to win the game 24-3. They're now 3-0. They will play the Lions, who came away with a 20-13 win over the Cardinals. So moving to the Cardinals, that loss to the Lions puts them at 1-2. And they'll stay at home as they take on the visiting Washington Commanders, who are now 2-1, and they're tied with the Eagles for the lead in the NFC East Division. The Cardinals' offense has struggled as they only picked up 13 points. But on the bright side, after giving up 20 points in the first half, the defense rebounded as they actually shut out the Lions in that second half. The defense rebounded as they actually shut out the Lions in that second half. The Rams played another division opponent as they took on the 49ers this past week. They came away with their first win of the season in a nail-biter as they broke a 24-24 tie with a 37-yard field goal in the final seconds to win the game 27-24. They will hope to build off this performance on the road when they play the Bears. And the 49ers will be back at home after 2 games on the road. They will play the Patriots on Sunday. And with how things went in Week 3, it means that the Cardinals, Rams, and the 49ers are all tied in the division at 1-2, as Seattle will scoot away with the division lead. From the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Riley Garcia.
Hey, what's good, Varsity Sports Show? My name is Quentin Presley, and I'll be a senior at Arizona State University studying sports journalism. In fall 2024, I'll be joining the broadcast and production team, and I'm very excited to be bringing coverage about high school and college sports week in and week out.
The AngryCrabShack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. AngryCrabShack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The AngryCrabShack in Tempe. Come ready to eat. APAC is your one-stop source for all your automotive and heavy-duty air conditioning parts, supplies, and equipment. They're family-owned and have been the Valley's go-to for all your auto AC needs since 1982. Whether it's for your everyday or vintage car, commercial, or off-road vehicle or equipment, APAC has you covered. Call APAC, AA-PAK, the AC experts at 602-254-1116 and ask for the Varsity Special to get 10% off your purchase.
Hey everyone, my name is Siddhartha, currently studying at Arizona State University for a master's degree in sports journalism. This fall, I'll be an intern at the Varsity Sports Show, looking forward to bringing the best sports stories around the country to you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Varsity Sports Show, where our mission is to empower education and enable dreams, creating an unmatched platform to showcase talent both in front of and behind the microphone in radio, television, podcast, and live streaming. The Varsity Sports Show, still your home for youth, high school, college, and you in Arizona and beyond.
AM1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. AM1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
This program is paid for by the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its partners.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show, home of Arizona's youth, high school, college sports, and you, empowering education and enabling dreams, right here on KDUS AM 1060 in Arizona. And now, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
It's the JUCO Report on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona, the Varsity Sports Show. News and notes from the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show here on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona Radio. And this hour, it's going to be me, Douglas Santo, alongside Roberto Astorga and Tommy Perez, who's going to be taking over for the majority of this hour. And on the line, we have JUCO football head coach from Gila River Hawks, Coach Larry Kane. Tommy, take it away with Coach Kane.
Welcome to the show, Gila River Coach Larry Kane. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So what has it been your main focus in the practice leading up to tonight's game tonight?
Well, the great thing is we actually had a bye after our first week. So our goal for the last 2 weeks was just trying to build chemistry. If you go back and you watch our game film from the first week, we didn't have a lot of chemistry. So tonight, we're just looking for chemistry, and we're looking for consistency.
What specific areas of the game have you emphasized to the team this week?
Honestly, just getting better, being 1% better. And there was not one specific area that we need to get better at. We need to get better at all three phases of the game, whether it's offense, defense, or the kicking game.
So going off of that, how do you plan to handle the strengths of the opposing team you're going against tonight?
With Salt River, they are very well coached, and then they have a lot of talent. So we spent a lot of time watching game film and trying to decide, what we're going to take away, and we're hoping to, offensively and defensively kind of dictate the pace, which will also hopefully slow them down.
So which players do you expect to step up and lead the team in the game tonight?
With our roster, it's very talented, but we have honestly probably the best safety in the HJCAC, and he is Jaquan Lamb. I think he really steps up and has another big game like he did against Maricopa. And then on the offensive side, we have a young quarterback in Jerry Keltner. And then, we have and he played okay his first game, but he spent a lot of time watching tape, and I think he has a big game for us tonight.
How would you evaluate, the recent performance before bye week? Where do you see room for improvement?
Oh, for us, man, across the board, and that's what, and that was a great thing that we had a bye, was that we needed to get better across the board. Again, there was no one specific area. So, hopefully when we watch the tape on Sunday that we see an improvement in all three phases of the game.
Where are your expectations from the team, just in terms of result, but effort and execution?
Well, and that goes back to, again, what we've worked on the last 2 weeks, is I expect us to play consistent, and I expect us to execute. And of course, we want to say we want to win tonight. Why do you play the game and keep score if you don't? But I hope to be able to, at the end of the night, whether we win or lose, to say that we played together and we're finally starting to come together. And if we can do that, then that can lead into next week, no matter the outcome.
So my next question is, how do you keep the team mentally prepared and focused for the game, something like this?
Honestly, we're at the junior college level. It's not the high school level or the youth level. They do that themselves. We have a team that is very super focused. I'm getting to practice 15 minutes early. They've already been there 20 minutes early. They're asking a lot of good questions. So, at the junior college level, you rarely run into players who are not highly invested in their future and in the game.
So my next question is, how do you plan to keep the players energized, especially during a crucial moment of the game going on?
And again, I think that just goes into, the players. As coaches on Saturday nights, we are focused on the field. We have really good captains that will help keep the players on the field energized and on the sidelines.
Lastly, is there any specific adjustments made after reviewing your last match?
Oh, there is a ton. And I guess there's a ton. We've made some adjustments to our offense. We've made an adjustment to our defense and in the kicking game. I think every week, no matter you win or you lose, there's always a ton of adjustments. The game is just, coaches, players are just too knowledgeable. And, each week you got to always add in a new wrinkle. So we're definitely have some things that we're going to pull out tonight that will be very interesting to see.
And Coach, talking more on that, talking about adjusting each week, and talked about team chemistry early on, what's kind of the mindset of the team going into the game tonight?
That they just want to be 1% better. And at the end of the game, whether we win or lose, we want to feel like we did not shoot ourselves in the foot. If you go back, you look at our tape from week 1, we had a lot of mental errors, whether it was bad snaps, was missed blocks, routes wrong, or on the defensive side, just not knowing, their alignment and their assignment. So when we look at the tape on Sunday, that's what we're definitely going to emphasize is, were we able to limit the number of mental errors that we committed?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Coach, for your time, and good luck tonight.
All right. Thank you guys so much for what you guys do.
Thank you, Coach. So that was Coach Larry Hand from Gila River JUCO coach. Thank you for joining the Varsity Sports Show. Up next, we have some segments from our colleagues, Maya Hall, Adrian Cormona, and Marcos Skegway. Carrie, take it away.
I'm Maya Hall, a Varsity Sports Show intern student attending Arizona State University. Let's talk ASU hockey. Hockey season is right around the corner, and our Sun Devils have been quite busy. Formerly a part of the American Collegiate Hockey Association, Arizona State Ice Hockey is now officially a member of the National Collegiate Hockey Conference as of July 1st, 2024. The NCHC is now a 9-team conference consisting of ASU, Colorado College, the University of Denver, Miami University, the University of Minnesota, Duluth, the University of Nebraska, Omaha, the University of North Dakota, St. Cloud State University, and Western Michigan University. Last season, the Sun Devils recorded a 24-win season. The program record for the 2023-24 season was 24-8-6, including 3-2-2 against the NCHC conference opponents. ASU is ready to show up and show out this season with 6 new players from the transfer portal. 4 forwards, 1 defenseman, and 1 goaltender make the desert their hockey home. Once again, I'm Maya Hall with the Varsity Sports Show.
Hello everyone, I'm AngryCrabShack from the University of Florida for the Varsity Sports Show. Despite a 1-2 start to the season, the Arizona Cardinals are still in a good spot to earn a playoff spot or even win the division. The Cardinals are coming off of a 20-13 loss to the Detroit Lions, but there are some bright spots to consider following that loss. For one, the defense is absolutely exceeding expectations this season. Going into the year, the Cards were projected to be a bottom defense in the NFL, but in the last 2 weeks, they have shut down the Rams and held Detroit to only 20 points. And, although it was a subpar game from both of them last week, the connection between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. should prove to be dangerous in the future. Finally, they could have the opportunity to compete for the NFC West title. They already have a victory over the Rams, and the 49ers are 1-2 with several injuries to key players. The Seahawks are 3-0, which will make it tough for Arizona to overtake them. But anything can happen, and the Cardinals have some very winnable games in their schedule, including tomorrow against the Commanders. From the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Adrian Carmona.
This is Marco Sagai from the Varsity Sports Show, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about Arizona State University's football team and their start to the season. So right now, Arizona State University are on a bye week, so just wanted to go over their first 4 games and their outlook going into the rest of the season after the bye. So they're off to a 3-1 start, which is a pretty good start considering how they have been under the Kenny Dillingham era. They lost their first game of Big 12 action last weekend to Texas Tech on the road in Lubbock. But for the first 3 games, they were looking pretty well. Offensively, Sam Levitt and Cam Scatabo are definitely the headline names. Scatabo had a really good game against against Mississippi State. I was there for that one. And he's looking like one of the better rushers in the country right now, especially in the Big 12 conference. But something that we can talk about specifically to critique this team is their defense, who outside of the opening game against Wyoming haven't been overly impressive. You can look at the Mississippi State game where they had that in control and were really unable to close it out. I remember I was at the game with a couple of friends, left at halftime with the way the halftime score was. It was a blowout at that point, but Mississippi State were able to storm back and make that a close one, tight at the end, and ASU were able to seal it offensively. And then you can even go back to last week against Texas State and also had some troubles stopping that team. So I think the defense is going to be something that's going to have to be essential for this team moving forward. But if the way Cam Scatabo continues, if he's able to do what he does and Sam Levitt is able to continue to ascend as a passer as well, then this team can get a few wins in the Big 12. This is Marco Sagai for the Varsity Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on KDUS AM 1060 Radio. I'm Douglas Santo, joined alongside Tommy Perez and Roberto Astorga. It's been a jam-packed morning so far with plenty of segments, great segments from our colleagues at the Varsity Sports Show, along with some really awesome interviews from JUCO coach, high school coaches, just all about football this morning. And going into this break, after the break, we are going to hear from more of our colleagues. We're going to hear about the D-backs' postseason chances and more. It's a jam-packed morning, wonderful morning out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Stick around. After the break, we have more.
James Out West brings NFL, NBA, MLB, and local sports talk to you Monday night starting at 7 on KDUS AM 1060 and the KDUS 1060 app.
APAC is your one-stop source for all your automotive and heavy-duty air conditioning parts, supplies, and equipment. They're family-owned and have been the Valley's go-to for all your auto AC needs since 1982. Whether it's for your everyday or vintage car, commercial, or off-road vehicle or equipment, APAC has you covered. Call APAC, AAPAK, the AC experts at 602-254-1116 and ask for the Varsity Special to get 10% off your purchase. The Varsity Sports Show is proud to once again be the official broadcast team of the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference. We are back for another year of HJCAC football. We'll bring you the JUCO Game of the Week, on-site live coverage, weekly JUCO report on Saturday morning's Varsity Sports Show, and coming this fall, the weekly Coaches Show with Coach Doug Medoski. Stay tuned for more. JUCO football is alive and well in Arizona. Brought to you by the Varsity Sports Show and the HJCAC.
Hi, my name is Sarah Singh, and I'm currently a rising junior at Arizona State University, more specifically the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications. I'm so excited to be joining the Varsity Sports Show team this fall as a technical director intern, and I can't wait to see what we all achieve as a team.
The Thursday night high school flag football game of the week is back. 8 weeks of coverage beginning Thursday, September 19th. Every game begins at 6 p.m. Join the varsity team as we travel the valley featuring your favorite teams, including Saturday morning radio segments. The Thursday night flag football game of the week is back on the Varsity Sports Show.
You are listening to the Varsity Sports Show. The Varsity Sports Show. Thursday night flag football game of the week. Flag football game of the week.
Carving out time in your afternoon for the Doug Gottlieb Show right here on KDUS AM 1060, 100.7 HD2, and KDUS1060.com. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Welcome back. This is the Varsity Sports Show on the AM1060 KDUS radio. I am Tommy Perez from the Arizona State University. I will be your host alongside Roberto Astorga and Douglas Santo. Going out the last segment, talking about the ASU football team. What do you guys hope to see this season?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season for ASU football. Obviously, 3-1 through the first 4 games of the season. I think Kenny Dillingham and staff have surpassed all expectations so far through these first 4 games. Obviously, matching the win total from last season, going 3-9 and now 3-1 already this season. I've been really impressed with what I have seen, and I'm excited for what's to come throughout the rest of this season. What are your thoughts, Roberto?
Yeah, I've been excited with them. They've been pretty good in all of their games. The MC State game kind of was the first game showing that how good they were. Texas State, they just carried on the momentum. The loss to Texas Tech was a tough loss for me because I thought ASU could have won that game. But nonetheless, they're still looking pretty good, and they're looking ahead to this matchup with Kansas.
Yeah, I think, as you were saying, I think going into that Texas Tech game, being 3-0, I think there was a lot of confidence and hype and just enjoyment of watching the team around ASU at that point. And I think that was a game that, as you said, ASU could have won. There were a lot of shooting yourself in the foot penalties and just simple mistakes that obviously ASU hopes to clean up going forward. And now going into this bye week, they'll have time to regroup, maybe heal from some injuries and stuff, and then going into that game against Kansas. Have you guys gotten out to any games this season?
I went to a few games this season. I think one of them was the Mississippi State, and then that was home, I believe.
Yes, yeah, that was a home game.
That was a pretty good game, especially because it did start raining a little bit there.
Yeah, I went to the Wyoming game, so that was just a great game. We saw what we're capable of, and based off of last year, I was not looking forward to that game, but they exceeded my expectations completely.
Yeah, absolutely. And last year, the home opener, that was the Dust Storm game, right, against NAU. That was a crazy game. But yeah, they definitely started the season off with a bang this year, putting a thumping on Wyoming. That was really fun to watch. And I think there's a new level of confidence and expectation around this team. I feel like coming into the season, a lot of people thought, if they could get to 6-6, get that 500 record, it would be a nice improvement for the team this season in the second season under Kenny Dillingham. But now I feel like there's heightened expectation that now it's like maybe we can crack the top 25. Maybe we can compete in the Big 12, be in that top half. The team was picked to finish last in the Big 12, and I think that was a big kind of a big boost of confidence for the team, knowing that everyone thinks they're going to do bad and they can surprise everybody. What do you think about that, Roberto and Tommy?
Yeah, it was a great boost of more motivation just because everybody thought they were going to be last. They're in the conference, they're 0-1, but they're still looking forward to getting wins. Definitely already better than last year. We got the game against Kansas and then some big games against Utah. They're number 10th ranked, and then Oklahoma State. And obviously the game at the end of the season against Arizona is always a big one just because that rivalry is real.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we've got a few segments coming up. Tommy, you want to take us into those?
Yeah, so up next we have a segment for our colleagues. ASU hockey new conferences, Arizona Cardinals playoff chances, and the ASU bye week.
I'm Griffin Engelberg from the University of Arizona, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. The Arizona Diamondbacks are in the midst of a tense race for a postseason spot as the 2024 season winds down. With just a few games left, they hold an 80% chance of clinching a National League wildcard berth. Despite that, recent struggles, particularly on the mound, have cast some doubt over their playoff hopes. The team's ERA of 4.66, among the worst in the MLB, has worsened in September, jumping to 5.61. A concerning trend for a team vying for a playoff spot. Key players like Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte have provided strong offensive performances, but inconsistent production from the lineup has placed additional strain on the team's already shaky pitching. After a promising surge in August, where their playoff odds peaked near 97%, the D-backs have stumbled with a 12-15 record since. This has allowed rivals like San Francisco Giants, New York Mets, and the San Diego Padres to close the gap in the wildcard race. The Diamondbacks' upcoming games against the Padres will be critical. Arizona needs to capitalize on these matchups to stay in the hunt, especially since the remaining schedule features direct competitors for playoff spots. Despite their challenges, players and manager Torey Lovullo remain optimistic, emphasizing the team's resilience and focus heading into these final games. Ultimately, while the D-backs' playoff chances remain strong, their path to October is far from guaranteed. Their pitching staff must step up, and the offense will need to deliver consistency to fend off late-season surges from other National League teams. The next few days will decide whether the Arizona Diamondbacks can clinch back-to-back postseason appearances or face elimination in a crowded wildcard race. This was Griffin Engelberg from the University of Arizona, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Florencio Della Torre from the Sidney Poitier New American Film School at ASU, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. And today, I'm coming at you with some exciting Sun Devil football news. Last Sunday, ASU football landed its first commitment from the class of 2026. Jake Fett shared on X, "Blessed to announce my commitment to Arizona State University. Excited to continue to pursue my dream as a Sun Devil." The El Paso, Texas native is ranked by 247 Sports as a 4-star recruit and the number 14 quarterback in the country in the class of 2026. As a sophomore last season, Fett threw for 2,465 yards on 139 of 225 passing attempts, or a 61.8% completion rate, and he rushed for 346 yards. Before committing to Arizona State, Fett received offers from other Big 12 football programs, Baylor, Houston, Kansas, TCU, and Texas Tech, as well as schools from outside of the conference, New Mexico State, North Texas, UTEP, and SMU. ASU football has increased efforts to recruit out of Texas. The commitment of Texas high school star Jake Fett is a great step towards strengthening the Texas to Tempe pipeline. Thanks for listening. This has been Florencio Della Torre with the Varsity Sports Show.
Hello everyone, this is Saleh Awad with the Varsity Sports Show. Thank you for listening. The Arizona Cardinals are coming off a 20-13 home loss to the Detroit Lions this past Sunday. While that did drop them to 1-2 through 3 weeks, the team has looked good this season and there is reason to be optimistic. The Cards remain at home and will face rookie sensation Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders in Week 4. Washington is coming off back-to-back victories against the New York Giants and Cincinnati Bengals. Led by the LSU quarterback this season, the Commanders are averaging 26 points per game, which ranks as the 5th most in the entire league, and just 1 point behind the Arizona Cardinals. There is a ton of history involved with this game, as Jaden Daniels returns to the state of Arizona, where he spent 3 seasons at ASU before transferring to LSU. where he was ultimately named the Heisman winner in his final season and became the second overall draft pick in the 2024 draft. In addition, Cardinals head coach for 4 seasons Cliff Kingsbury is calling plays for the Commanders this season as offensive coordinator. Kingsbury was fired by Arizona following the 2022 to 2023 season after the team finished with a 4-13 record. Overall, this is a huge game for the Cardinals as they look to get back to 500 and remain steady as Kyler Murray and this team try to make a playoff push this season. For the Varsity Sports Show, this is Saleh Awad reporting.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. I'm Douglas Santo, getting to hear from Saleh Awad about the Cardinals and Commanders tomorrow. That'll be Cliff Kingsbury going back up against his former quarterback, Kyler Murray. Obviously, Kingsbury now the offensive coordinator for the Commanders. That'll be a really interesting matchup, and it'll be an interesting game, too, because, as Saleh was saying, Commanders coming off a big win against the Bengals, a game that I think a lot of people did not expect the Commanders to win, maybe even compete in, and coming off that win and now playing the Cardinals. Should be an exciting game. What are you looking for in that game, Roberto?
Yeah, Daniels had a great game last game. He's had a good season to start his career. It's going to fall on the Arizona defense to see if they can make him uncomfortable because he is still a rookie quarterback. And if the Cardinals can somehow limit Daniels, then it should help Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison in their offense score points. I know last week they struggled scoring points, but the week before their offense has been great. So yeah, definitely they need to get their offense back in rhythm.
Yeah, and speaking of that offense getting back in rhythm, Saleh talked about Marvin Harrison Jr., the first-round draft pick, the son of Marvin Harrison, and week 1 got off to a bit of a slow start, just 1 catch for 4 yards, but against the Rams going for 130 yards on 4 catches and 2 touchdowns, and then last week picking up where he left off with another 5 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. It'll be interesting to see how they can keep him involved in the offense, and if he can show up once again for another week and lead the Cardinals to another hopeful victory. Tommy, how much are you a Cardinals fan? Do you like watching football out here?
Yeah, so I grew up as a Cardinals fan. I remember going to games since I was little. Lately I haven't been following up, but man, they still keep me on my toes, and they always shock me with the win.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an interesting team to follow over the last couple of years. Obviously during the Cliff Kingsbury era, when there was not as much winning as I think a lot of Cardinals fans hoped for. Obviously the injuries to Kyler Murray and the rest of the squad did not help with that. But now under the new regime and Jonathan Gannon, it looks like they're starting to turn things in the right direction. And obviously Cliff Kingsbury seems to have found his home once again for the Commanders as the offensive coordinator there. What are you looking for the rest of this season for the Cardinals, Roberto?
Yeah, for the rest of the season, they're going to have to be tough like they've been and show some of the flashes like against the Rams when they scored 41 points. They're going to need a lot of that great play from Kyler Murray. I think coming into this year, his expectations are higher because he's not off an injury and he has a great young wide receiver, a great young tight end, a decent O-line. So, yeah, the expectations for him are going to be through the roof.
Yeah, I agree. I think as you were talking about, they finally have the players around Kyler Murray and a healthy Kyler Murray to make something happen there in the NFC West, and the defense can come around and play some stout defense like they have during the game so far this season. There's a lot of expectation around this team and for Jonathan Gannon as well. We're going to go into the break now. Coming out of the break, though, we're going to have Tommy interviewing Horizon High School football head coach Tyson Ditmore on their start to the season. They're 4-1 coming into the season, looking very strong this season. So stick around, and we'll have more after the break.
Listener rewards for you with the KDUS 1060 app. Download today to hear all of the national and local shows you love. That's the KDUS 1060 app.
APAC is your one-stop source for all your automotive and heavy-duty air conditioning parts, supplies, and equipment. They're family-owned and have been the Valley's go-to for all your auto AC needs since 1982. Whether it's for your everyday or vintage car, commercial, or off-road vehicle or equipment, APAC has you covered. Call APAC, AAPAK, the AC experts at 602-254-1116 and ask for the Varsity Special to get 10% off your purchase. The Varsity Sports Show is proud to once again be the official broadcast team of the Hohokam Junior College Athletic Conference. We are back for another year of HJCAC football. We'll bring you the JUCO Game of the Week, on-site live coverage, weekly JUCO report on Saturday morning's Varsity Sports Show, and coming this fall, the weekly Coaches Show with Coach Doug Medoski. Stay tuned for more. JUCO football is alive and well in Arizona. Brought to you by the Varsity Sports Show and the HJCAC. The Thursday night high school flag football game of the week is back. 8 weeks of coverage beginning Thursday, September 19th. Every game begins at 6 p.m. Join the varsity team as we travel the Valley featuring your favorite teams, including Saturday morning radio segments. The Thursday night flag football game of the week is back on the Varsity Sports Show.
You are listening to the Varsity Sports Show. The Varsity Sports Show. Thursday night flag football game of the week. Flag football game of the week.
Have you downloaded the KDUS 1060 app yet? Download today and get all of your favorite local and national shows right on your phone.
I'm back, hey, doing my thing, I'm doing my thing, hey, yeah, doing my thing, I'm doing my thing. I'm back, hey, doing my thing, I'm doing my thing, hey, yeah, stay on.
We're still on it.
I got.
Welcome back. This is the Varsity Sports Show on am1060 KDUS Radio. I am Tommy Perez from the Arizona State University. Our next guest is Horizon coach Tyson Ditmore. Welcome to the coach, Horizon coach Tyson Ditmore. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So, congratulations on your win last night. How would you evaluate your team's overall performance last night?
I think we did pretty good. You know, we capitalized on all three phases. We definitely have some things to clean up, but you know, overall, I'm proud of the kids for bouncing back and just coming out and putting ourselves together a complete game.
Were there any players or plays that stood out to you in particular?
You know, I mean, any time we're able to run the football and run the football successfully, I'm always going to give a shout out to our offensive line. A few other players that kind of really stood out to me is we had a running back who stepped in the place of Bodie Zamorano. We had Johnny Isid who stepped up and ran the ball really well for us and made our running game pretty seamless in the transition. And then I think our defense, you know, especially after last week's tough loss, our defense bounced back and played an awesome game.
Going off of that, what was your main reaction last night to your junior quarterback Johnny's big performance?
I'm just proud of him. I mean, that's the type of kid he is. He knew his role. He knew he was kind of, you know, going to be in and out of spurts when Bodie was in, and you know, once he had the opportunity to step up and shine, he did it. He did an awesome job.
How does last night's game shape your preparation for the next matchup after bye week against Notre Dame Prep?
I think it's going to teach us, you know, to kind of clean up some of the little things. You know, our penalties have got to be cleaned up. But also I think it's a blessing for us because we get a chance to heal up right before we get into darn near the toughest part of our schedule.
So as you are 4-1 this season, what is your confidence level like?
You know, I mean, I got to be honest, every week, you know, you never know what's going to happen. The game of football is a crazy game, but, you know, just being confident for our boys, I'm confident in them every week going into it, but the game of football will always give you some nerves at the end of the day.
Your one loss was against the Pinnacle. What adjustments did you make from that game that created success last night?
You know, ultimately, I think it was just it was all mental for us. You know, I think we hung in with Pinnacle physically. You know, we have a chance to win that game, but for us, hanging in mentally and knowing that you know, we got a long season ahead of us. That was only our fourth game, and knowing that we've got our whole region to go through. And then, if we get an opportunity to go to the playoffs, we got a long season to play.
Knowing that you already played Pinnacle, how does your team prepare as you might face them in the playoffs coming up?
I think we prepare every week. It's going to be more mental for us, I think, as we transition down towards the later part of the season, and just making sure that we know what we're doing from a mental standpoint, and then going out on Friday nights and just executing.
So going off of your team, like mental and stuff like that, how do you keep the team mentally prepared and focused for a game, especially last night?
This week was hard. We had a lot of distractions. We had homecoming and especially coming off of the Pinnacle game. We played on a Thursday night, so we had an extra day, really kind of out of our routine. And I think just keeping the kids excited. They've got to show up. We're asking them to put in a lot of work and long hours, and just keeping the kids excited about coming to school every day and coming to practice.
So can you talk about like the development of some of your younger players this season that's on the team, especially from last night's game?
Yeah, I think our offensive line has been a group that has developed, as a unit, probably the best overall so far. There's some younger guys. There's 4 or 3 new players on that offensive line, and Coach Walker has done an absolute elite job with those guys getting them prepared every week, and they're believing in what we're doing, which I think is the most important thing.
Coach, in your region, you guys are all at 4-1 or better. So how do you kind of prepare for each team, knowing that they're going to be tough games, close games?
For us, I think it's about us every week, and what do we need to do to make sure that we are, capable of potentially having an upper hand in some of those games. Whether that be on the special team side, defensively, or offensively. I think that's where really the coaches and players need to come together and mesh together, knowing that every week's going to be a challenge.
And Coach, going off of that, you talked about coming up, you're getting into kind of the most difficult part of your schedule, playing those region games, the games that really determine where you are in the playoffs, if you make it there. How do you keep the players focused each game and not looking forward to maybe those playoffs?
I think it kind of works itself out. It's kind of been nice because we've built little rivalries with each of these schools. Notre Dame Prep's a rival for us, and Desert Mountain's starting to become a pretty big rival for us. Higley is one, Cactus Shadows is one, and then we having the close games with ALA Gilbert North last year. I think it's kind of really set ourselves up previously to know that every game is just as important as the other.
Thank you, Coach. That was Horizon head coach Tyson Ditmore. Thank you for joining us this morning, and good luck for the rest of your season.
Thank you, guys.
Up next, we have some more segments from our colleagues from Kiana Watchman, Christopher Zavalos, and Faith Rivera. Corey, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kiana Watchman from the University of Arizona, reporting for the Varsity Live Sports Show. The top 3 of the NAIA is still held strong by Kaiser, Northwestern, and Grandview, all with stellar undefeated seasons so far, and their ranking reflecting that. However, number 4 ranked Montana Western and number 5 Bethel University are also filling out the rest of the top 5 with undefeated seasons. Looking into Montana Western season, they are currently sitting at the top of the Frontier Conference as defending Frontier Conference champs. The biggest game of the season so far for the Bulldogs was against number 3 ranked College of Idaho. This upset was credited to quarterback Michael Palandri with a career high of 416 passing yards against the Yotes. Montana Western has racked up 2 conference wins against College of Idaho as well as Eastern Oregon University. A confidence boost with a win against D3 Lewis and Clark College has also prepared Montana Western as they take on ranked number 14th Southern Oregon University. Looking towards the southeast, Bethel has taken on 2 out-of-conference opponents, showing their dominant power with their 49-3 win over University of Northwestern Minnesota and a 51-30 win over University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. Bethel begins season play September 28th against St. John's University. Wide receiver Joey Kidder broke records of his own, including being named the Royals' all-time touchdown reception leader with 31, and he also tied the single-game record with 4 touchdown receptions. Each team is climbing the ladder within the conference and the NAIA and are receiving deserving national recognition. That's it from Kiana Watchman. Please follow my ex at KWatchmanNews, and I hope y'all have a great day.
This is Christopher Rouse with the Varsity Sports Show. And this week, the Arizona Wildcats visit the Utah Utes in hopes to bounce back off their Week 3 loss. Big 12 play didn't start off well as Arizona was thumped by Kansas State 31-7, knocking the Wildcats out of the top 25 rankings. Utah is coming off an awkward win over Oklahoma State in Week 4 that saw the Utes almost blow a 22-3 lead. And the biggest question for Utah is the availability of quarterback Cam Rising, who has dealt with a hand injury, meaning that freshman Isaac Wilson, who has filled in for the Utes, might be slated for his 3rd straight start. U of A's offense looks to get back to form against a tough Utah defense that allows only 13 points per game. Top wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan's production has been hot and cold in the Wildcats' first 3 games. The Wildcats' offense is averaging about 150 passing yards per game, which is about on par with what Utah's defense is allowing at 167 passing yards per game. The numbers are a slow start compared to the surge Arizona's offense had last season when Noah Fafita took over for Jaden DeLaura, where the unit averaged 308.3 passing yards per game. Arizona's coming off an early bye week, which means an extra week to prepare for a well-coached Utah team, which may be beneficial. A win could help the Wildcats' case towards a possible Big 12 title, which seems to be a wide-open field at this point in the season. And given Arizona's demolition of Utah last season, the Wildcats very well could repeat this season if the offense can take command early. Even with or without Cam Rising on the other side, this game will surely provide some electric football in tonight's late-game window. And this is Christopher Zavalos with the Varsity Sports Show.
I'm Faith Rivera from Scottsdale Community College with Varsity Sports, interviewing student athletes on how they prepare for a big game. Most student athletes have to manage their time like no one else. How do they manage to get good grades in school while preparing for a big game or other life responsibilities? Let's ask. Carter, from Scottsdale Community College baseball team. How do you manage your schoolwork with preparing for a big game?
So how I prepare for a big game when I have schoolwork is I do my homework at school. It can be stressful sometimes because I have lots of homework, and if I don't finish it by the time of the game, then I might have to stay home and do the homework instead of go to the game.
Time management is great, but how do they mentally prepare for a big game? How do they get in the right headspace? This is Taylor from Special Olympics.
Eating the right stuff, practicing a lot.
Now Trinity from Saguaro High School badminton. How do you physically prepare for a game?
To prepare for a game, we'll make sure to drink a lot of water, do various stretches like lunges, just like arm circles and arm stretches, scoops, just a whole bunch of things to make sure we don't get cramps in the middle of the game. Come up with whoever we're playing doubles with, or just whoever we feel like warming up with, which include we'll just hit back and forth, clear shot, straight shots, drives, etc.
To conclude, remember, behind every great performance is a lot of hard work and dedication. Their stories remind us that success is not just about the final score, but the hard work and commitment behind the scenes. With Varsity Sports, I'm Faith Rivera.
Welcome back. This is the Varsity Sports Show on AM1060 KDUS Radio. I am Tomasa Perez from Arizona State University. We just heard from our colleagues and Horizon head coach Tyson Ditmore. Stick around after this break. We will be in our final 15 minutes of our show this morning, and we will talk more about the local sports and more segments from our colleagues. Corey, take it away.
Football fans, it's Mellow Monday, so join the Rooster at Mellow Mushroom off the I-17 in Happy Valley Road between 5 and 6 p.m. every Monday night during football season.
The Varsity Sports Show live with Vince D'Alicio every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Features all the local youth, high school, college sports, and more, both around the Valley and beyond. Enjoy go-to segments with coaches and players from around the Valley. Tune in to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince and guests Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060. Online at KDUS1060.com and the KDUS 1060 app.
The AngryCrabShack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. AngryCrabShack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The AngryCrabShack in Tempe. Come ready to eat. The Varsity Sports Show is once again proud to partner with Grand Canyon University Club Sports in 2024 and 25. Join us in our coverage of GCU Club Sports on Saturday's Varsity Sports Show and the rest of the week. We'll cover hockey, soccer, baseball, rugby, lacrosse, and more. The Lopes are back on the Varsity Sports Show.
I'll turn those picks into gold.
Wall-to-wall NFL coverage and the biggest stories coming to you from 3 to 5 p.m. The Rich Eisen Show here on KDUS AM 1060 and KDUS1060.com.
Welcome back. This is the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS Radio. I am Tommy Perez from Arizona State University. I am your host alongside Roberto Astorga and Douglas Santo.
We've had a jam-packed show this morning. It's been a lot of fun. Talked high school sports, professional sports in and around Arizona. We've gotten to talk with some coaches, some JUCO coaches. It's been a really fun show along the side of you two. And now let's continue to talk about some of those sports. We've talked about ASU sports. We've talked about football. Volleyball's gotten off to a nice start. I know soccer's underway. We've talked about the D-backs and the Cardinals. And let's talk a little bit. I know we mentioned the Mercury earlier, but Tommy, I know you're a Mercury fan. Been watching them in the playoffs. Obviously, I know they just got eliminated, but I'm sure it's still fun to watch them and follow throughout the season. And obviously, with the looming whether or not Medina Taurasi is going to retire, what was it like watching them in the playoffs? And what do you think Taurasi's decision will end up being?
So as I was watching the last two playoff games, it was kind of a little stressful because they kept bringing it back. Like they were losing, they'll bring it back. The last game they were leading the game and they lost. Medina Taurasi, I don't believe she's going to be retiring this season. I still have hopes. I did attend her last game. She didn't say anything along the lines of her retiring. She was teasing. But I really hope she stays one more season and lets other people come and watch her and have her farewell.
Yeah, she's definitely been a monumental figure for the Mercury and just a sports figure in the city of Phoenix, obviously being here throughout most of her career and just being a staple on the Mercury alongside Brittany Griner. And what did you see throughout the Mercury this season? Obviously made the playoffs, probably didn't get as far as they wanted, but what was it like watching them throughout the season?
I saw so many different changes. Like the beginning of the season, you grow with high hopes and you believe that they're going to go far in the playoffs, they're going to win. But sometimes you just can't really tell and you don't know what it's like. And I definitely saw the Mercury grow more as a family, and you can see their expressions, especially at home games. You see how close they are, and I believe that they have a high chance next season.
Yeah, that sounds really good, and I'm sure that chance is even higher if Taurasi decides to stay and play one more season, which I'm sure all the fans would love to see, and kind of give her a nice farewell season. And now what do we have up next, Tommy?
So up next we have some segments from our colleagues, Lila Ruderman about high school landscape recruiting, and Nick Anderson, the NHL playoffs.
This is Layla Ruderman from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at ASU reporting for Varsity Sports. In today's football landscape, high school recruitment has become more important than ever. Here are some of the up-and-coming 2025 quarterback recruits from the Midwest that you should be looking out for. Starting things off with Bryce Underwood, arguably the top QB recruit out of the 2025 class. The 6'4", 5-star quarterback is from Belleville and has led a career record of 40 wins with only 2 losses. After 41 offers, he is officially committed to play at LSU. Next up is Tavion St. Clair, another strong quarterback emerging from the Midwest. Known for his tight spiral throws, St. Clair is from Ohio and will continue his career there as he is committed to Ohio State. Another 2025 quarterback to keep on your radar is Ryan Montgomery, the 6'3" quarterback out of Ohio. He ranks within the top 10 quarterbacks in the nation and has 27 offers, but committed to go to Georgia back in April. Those are some of the top recruits in the Midwest, and who knows, you might just be hearing their names called in the next couple years. Make sure to tune into Varsity Sports to keep up with all things Arizona sports.
This is Nicholas Anderson from the Hanks Greenspun School of Journalism at UNLV, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. With fall right around the corner, that means the upcoming 2024-25 NHL season is almost here and is full of excitement, especially for the Vegas Golden Knights, the Los Angeles Kings, and the San Jose Sharks. The Vegas Golden Knights are looking to bounce back after a tough first-round loss in the playoffs last year to the Dallas Stars. The Golden Knights look to get back to the glorious days, becoming Stanley Cup champions once again. But with the loss of multiple key pieces like Jonathan Marchessault, Chandler Stevenson, and William Carrier, the Golden Knights will have to rely on key pieces to remain healthy, especially for players like Mark Stone, who has had injury issues in recent years. The goaltending tandem of Aiden Hill will be crucial, and continued elite play from Jack Eichel and Shea Theodore will be vital to their success. The Los Angeles Kings look to build on their recent progress and establish themselves as serious contenders in the Western Conference. The Kings had a solid 2023-24 season, finishing third in the Pacific Division with a 44-27-11 record. They qualified for the playoffs for the second straight year, but were eliminated in the first round by the Edmonton Oilers in 5 games. Expectations for the Kings are to make the playoffs again, and the goal to advance past the first round. The San Jose Sharks struggled throughout the 2023-24 season, finishing near the bottom of the NHL standings. San Jose has made several moves to accelerate their rebuild. They traded star defenseman Erik Karlsson to the Pittsburgh Penguins in a 3-team deal, acquiring young assets and draft picks in return. The Sharks aren't expected to make the playoffs this season, with preseason rankings placing them near the bottom of the standings. However, their focus will be on player development and rebuild for the future. This is just the beginning of another great season of the NHL, and the Western Conference is looking as stacked as ever. From the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Nicholas Anderson.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show here on am1060 KDUS Radio in Arizona. We are getting to the end of our show here this morning. We've talked about a bunch of sports, a bunch of high school, college, and professional sports, talking with coaches all over the place. And we've talked about the Diamondbacks a little bit this morning, but this is a really big weekend for them. And I want to talk a little bit more about just them this weekend, and then obviously Monday with the Braves and Mets doubleheader that will likely decide who goes to the playoffs. But the D-backs play the Padres tonight and tomorrow. And Roberto, I know you're a big D-backs fan. What are you looking for this weekend? As I know they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. They need to turn around pretty quickly if they want to make a playoff push. What are you looking for this weekend to see out of the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, this is definitely not the end of the season they were expecting, they wanted. But yeah, they got to come into these 2 games with their Padres. Today we have one at 5, and then tomorrow at noon. They have to win the games to make it to the playoffs, to not really rely on the results of the other games. I know on Monday and I think Tuesday the Braves and Mets will play, and really depending on who wins those games, the Diamondbacks, if they win these 2 last games, they will be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of ironic and funny that last year D-backs obviously made the run to the World Series, but if people don't remember, it started with them getting swept on the final weekend of the season. I'm an Astros fan, and so I watched the Astros sweep them the final weekend, and the Astros needed those games to win their division, but the D-backs in that case did not need those games and ended up getting in on the wild card and then making the run. This season, completely different scenario. They need to win these games. If they get swept by the Padres this weekend, they will not be in the playoffs. So I think it's really interesting, and it puts a lot of pressure on the team, but also creates a lot of stress but excitement for the fans, knowing that these games are very important. These are basically playoff games that they need to win over the next 2 days. And speaking of that excitement, as a fan, Tommy, I know you like to go to D-backs games. What do you like most about going to the games and just the atmosphere at the stadium?
I think it's pretty fun, especially because, kids like to attend those games as well. So they probably a lot of little shows for them and for the fans. And I think it's nice to see that there's still people out there who support the Diamondbacks. Even though there might be a loss that night, they still are out there having fun and getting food and spending time with families. And I love the atmosphere because everyone's just really nice and lovable at that game.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a huge stadium, can fit a bunch of fans in there. I know during the playoffs last year, I was able to go to one of the NLCS games against the Phillies. And it was just a really cool experience, being able to watch the game against the Phillies. And obviously, Philly has a very strong fan base, vocal fan base. But so as you were saying, the atmosphere in that stadium, it was electric, and it was really fun to watch, especially the Diamondbacks won that game and eventually went on to play in the World Series. But it will be interesting to see how they finish this season and if they can make a run into the playoffs and try and make a run back at that World Series to get back to it. As we wrap up our show here, both your guys' first shows here on the radio show, how are you feeling? Finish up your first show.
Yeah, I feel good. Thank you, Douglas. You've been really cool working with Tommy. You guys have been real great. It made it a lot easier for me.
Yeah, thank you for the experience. You guys made it really easier to have a conversation. That was probably the best part is there's no camera who's on you and you're not scared of messing up. I really loved it. It was really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I know my first time doing the radio show, it was very nerve-wracking as well. But as you guys said, you get through the first time with it, and after that, you kind of understand what you're doing, know what you're doing, and feel more comfortable. And I think if you feel comfortable, then it makes it a lot easier on your mind, a lot more peaceful, and you can have more fun with it too. But going on from that, we've come to the end of our show today. Tommy, you want to take us out?
Yeah, thank you to our team and broadcasters across the country. Today's amazing live guests, Brophy prep coach Jason Jewell, Saguaro coach Darius Kelly, Horizon coach Dyson Ditmore. Check us out on X at Varsity Show, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Thanks to our producer, Cora Welsh. Make sure to join us back here next Saturday at 9 a.m. on am1060 KDUS, Arizona. On behalf of our co-hosts, Roberto Astorga and Douglas Santo from ASU Cronkite, I'm Tomasa Perez, also from ASU Cronkite. You are listening to the Varsity Sports Show. Go Varsity.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Wonderful Saturday morning here, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Go Varsity.